Haplogroup Q-M242 is a Y-chromosome DNA haplogroup. Origins. Haplogroup Q-M242 is one of the two branches of P1M45. Q-M242 is believed to have arisen around the Altai Mountains area, approximately 17,000 to 31,700 years ago. However, the matter remains unclear due to limited sample sizes and changing definitions of haplogroup Q. Early definitions used a combination of the S and Ps M242, P36.2, and MEH2 as defining mutations. This haplogroup has over a dozen subclades that have been sampled and identified in modern populations. Also, there are very diverse subhaplotypes. Technical specification of mutation. The technical details of M242 are: nucleotide change, C to T position, total size, forward 5, 3, UCT-GTAC, GTGCTG, reverse 5, 3, TCART, CAT, GCCTC subclades. In Y-chromosome phylogenetics, subclades are the branches of a haplogroup. These subclades are also defined by single nucleotide polymorphisms or unique event polymorphisms. Haplogroup Q-M242, according to the most recent available phylogenetics, has between 15 and 21 subclades. The scientific understanding of these subclades has changed rapidly. Many key SNPs and corresponding subclades were unknown to researchers at the time of publication are excluded from even recent research. This makes understanding the meaning of individual migration paths challenging. Phylogenetic trees. There are several confirmed and proposed phylogenetic trees available for haplogroup Q-M242. The scientifically accepted one is the Y-chromosome. Consortium 1 published in Carafe 2008 and subsequently updated. A draft tree that shows emerging science is provided by Thomas Crahn at the Genomic Research Center in Houston, Texas. The International Society of Genetic Genealogy also provides an amateur tree. The Genomic Research Center draft tree. This is Thomas Crahn at the Genomic Research Center's draft tree for haplogroup Q-M242. The first three levels of subclades are shown. Additional detail is provided on the linked branch article pages. NWT01 L275, L314, L606, L612, M378, L214, L215. The Y-chromosome Consortium tree. This is the official scientific tree produced by the Y-chromosome Consortium. The last major update was in 2008. Subsequent updates have been quarterly and biannual. The current version is a revision of the 2010 update. The first three levels of subclades are shown. Additional detail is provided on the linked branch article pages. QM25, M25, M143, QM346, L56, L57, M346, QP89.1, P89.1, QL275, L275, QM378, L214, L215, M378. The 2015 ISOGG tree. The subclades of haplogroup Q-M242 with the defining mutation, according to the 2015 ISOGG tree, are provided below. The first three levels of subclades are shown. Additional detail is provided on the linked branch article pages. Q-M242, M242, QP36.2, P36.2, L232, L273, L274, QMEH2, MEH2, QF1096, F1096, F1215, QNWTO1, NWTO1, QM120, M120, M265, N14, QM25, M25, M143, QL712, L712, QM346, L56, L57, M346, L528, QL53, L53, QL54, L54, QCTS11969, CTS11969, M930, QM3, M3, QM19, M19, QL804, L804, QCTS1780, CTS1780, M981, M971, Z780, QL330, L330, QF835, F835, L940, QF1161, F1161, QL527, L527, QL275, L275, L314, QM378, M378, page 100, L214, L215, page 82, QFGC1774, FGC1774, Y20116, Q245, L245, QI1150, Y1150. Phylogenetic variants. The subclade proposed by Sharma 2007, which shows polymorphism at 72,314 position of human aryl sulfatase D pseudogene, is not represented in any current trees under QMEH2. The most plausible explanation for this could be an ancestral migration of individuals bearing QMEH2 to the Indian subcontinent, followed by an autochthonous differentiation to QSS4BP distribution. Haplogroup Q-M242 is one of the most widely distributed Y-chromosome lineages in the modern world. It is found in the Americas, Asia, Europe, and North Africa. America's several branches of haplogroup Q-M242 have been predominant pre-Columbian male lineages in indigenous peoples of the Americas. Most of them are descendants of the major founding groups who migrated from Asia into the Americas by crossing the Bering Strait. These small groups of founders must have included men from the QM346, QL54, QZ780, and QM3 lineages. In the North America, two other Q lineages also have been found. These are QP89.1 and QNWTO1. They may have not been from the Beringia crossings but instead come from later immigrants who traveled along the shoreline of Far East Asia and then the Americas using boats. It is unclear whether the current frequency of QM242 lineages represents the frequency at the time of immigration or is the result of the shifts in a small founder population over time. Anyway, QM242 came to dominate the paternal lineages in the Americas. North America. In the indigenous people of North America, QM242 is found in Na-Dene speakers at an average rate of 68%. The highest frequency is 92.3% in Navajo, followed by 78.1% in Apache, 87% in SC Apache, and about 80% in North American Eskimo Aleut populations. On the other hand, a 4,000 100,000-year-old Sikaki individual belonging to Q1AMEH2* has been found in Greenland. Surprisingly, he was turned out to be generically more closely related to Far East Siberians such as Koryaks and Chukchi people rather than Native Americans. Today, the frequency of Q runs at 53.7% in Greenland, showing the highest in East Sermersooq at 82% and the lowest in Kikata at 30%. Q-M242 is estimated to occupy 3.1% of the whole U.S. population in 2010, according to the U.S. National Population Census data. The frequency of white people is 63.7%, followed by Hispanics 16.3%, Black 12.6%, Asian 4.8%, Native American 0.9%, etc. And haplogroup Q frequencies in each population sectors are QP36 *0.6% and AMP QM3 0.1% in white American, QP36 *3.8% and AMP QM3 7.9% in Hispanic American, QP36 *0.2% in African American, QP36 *31.2% and AMP QM3 26.9% in Native American. So, recalculated by the population weights of each sector, the frequency of QM242 in the U.S. reaches 3.1% as of 2010. Meso and South America. Haplogroup Q-M242 has been found in approximately 94% of indigenous peoples of Mesoamerica and South America. Q-M242 built many ancient cultures and civilizations such as Tiwanakus, Carol, Maya, Inca, Aztec, and so on. As a result of 5 centuries of wide-scale biological mesozoia, or miscegenation, between indigenous Americans and European immigrants. Today in Mesoamerica and South America the frequencies of QM242 among the whole male population of each country are lower than indigenous Amerindian populations, but nonetheless run far higher than in the population of North America. The frequencies of Q among the whole male population of each country reach as follows: 61% in Bolivia, 51% in Guatemala, 40.1% to 50% in Peru, 37.6% in Ecuador, 37.3% in Mexico among the specifically mestizo segment, 31.2% in El Salvador, 15.3% to 21.8% in Panama, 16.1% in Colombia, 15.2% in Nicaragua, 9.7% in Chile, 5.3% to 23.4% in Argentina, 5% in Costa Rica, 3.95% in Brazil, and so on. Based on the data above, the average frequency in the whole male population of Mesoamerica and South America is estimated to be about 18%. Asia. QM242 originated in Asia, and is widely distributed across it. QM242 is found in Russia, Siberia, Mongolia, China, Uyghurs, Tibet, Korea, Japan, Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and so on. North Asia. In Siberia, the regions between Altai and Lake Baikal, which are famous for many prehistoric cultures and is the most likely birthplace of haplogroup Q, exhibit high frequencies of QM242. In a study, Q-M242 has been found in 24.3% of all Altaean samples. Among them, chelkins show the highest frequency at 60.0%, followed by tubalas at 41% and Altaeans kirsi at 17%. In a former study, Q-M242 is found in 4.2% of southern Altaeans and 32.0% of northern Altaeans, with the highest frequency of 63.6% in Kermik-Bagel. The frequency reaches 13.7% in the whole samples. In another study, the frequency rises up to 25.8% in Altaeans. Based on the results of these studies, the average frequency of Q-M242 in Altaeans is about 21%. Tuva, which is located on the east side of Altai Republic and west of Lake Baikal as well as on the north side of Mongolia, shows higher frequency of Q-M242. It is found in 16% to 38.0% of Tuvans. Also, Tojans in eastern Tuva shows the frequency at 38.5%. So, the average frequency of Q-M242 in Tuva is about 31%. The highest frequencies of Q-M242 in Eurasia are witnessed in Kets at 93.8% and in Selkups at 66.4%. Russian ethnographers believe that their ancient places were farther south, in the area of the Altai and Sayan Mountains. The populations are currently small in number, being just under 1,500 and 5,000 respectively. In linguistic anthropology, the Ket language is significant as it is currently the only surviving one in the Yeniseian language family, which has been linked by some scholars to the Native American Na-Dene languages and, more controversially, the language of the Huns. Q-M346 is also found at lower rates in Sojos, Circassians, Karmiks and Khanty, and so on. In far eastern Siberia, Q-M242 is found in 35.3% of Niks in the lower Amur River, and 33.3% of Chachi people and 39.2% of Siberian Yupik people in Chukotka. It is found in 30.8% of Yukatas who live in the basin of the Kolyma River, which is located northwest of Kamchatka. It is also found in 15% of Koryaks in Kamchatka. East Asia. In some studies, various subgroups of Q-M242 are observed in Mongolia. Q1A2M346 occupies 1.4 to 3.1% of Mongols, followed by Q1A1A1M120, Q1A1BM25, Q1BM378. In another study, Q is found in 4% of Mongols. Based on these studies, the average frequency of Q-M242 in Mongols is estimated to be about 4 to 5%. However, most of Q-M242 people in East Asia belong to subclade QM120, which distributes most intensively across northern China. QM242 ranged from 4 to 8% in northwest China, North China, central China, and upper East China to 3 to 4% in northeast China. The average frequency of QM242 in northern China is around 4.5%. However, it decreases to about 2% in southern China. In a study published in 2011, researchers have found QM242 in 3.3% of the samples of unrelated Han Chinese male volunteers at Fudan University in Shanghai, with the origins from all over China, though with the majority coming from East China. QM242 is found in about 9 9.5% of Uyghurs, with Q-M346 occupying the half and followed by Q1*, Q-M120, Q-M378, Q-M25. It is also found in approximately 3.2% of males in Tibet. It is found in about 1.9% of South Koreans, showing the highest frequency in Seoul and Gyeonggi Province at 2.7% and decreasing ones to the south. It is about in 0.5% of Japanese and in 0.3% to 1.2% of Taiwanese. Subclade Q1BM378 is also found in China and its neighboring countries at very low frequencies. It exists throughout all Mongolia, with rare examples in Japan. Southeast Asia Haplogroup Q shows low frequencies in Southeast Asia. In a study, the frequencies of Haplogroup Q is 5.4% in Indonesia, 3.1% in the Philippines, 2.5% in Thailand. However, other studies show 0% or near 0% frequencies in those countries. In the case of Vietnam, the frequency is 7% in a study, but 0% or under 1% in other studies. So, it is hard to define average frequencies, but it is safe to say that Southeast Asia generally shows very low frequency of Q-M242, and the continental regions show higher frequencies than island ones. Only some regions and ethnic groups in the continent show high frequencies. Q-M242 is found in 2.8% in Myanmar, and all the Q samples are concentrated in Ayeyarwady and Bago regions in southwest Myanmar, and Q-M242 is found in 55.6% in the Aga tribe in northern Thailand. The Aga are known to have moved from southern China to Southeast Asia over the past centuries, and to have originated from a northern area such as Mongolia or Manchuria a long time ago. Central Asia. In Central Asia, the southern regions show higher frequencies of Q than the northern ones. In the northern regions, Q-M242 is found in about 2% to 6% of Kazakhs. It is found in about 2% of Kyrgyz people. In the southern regions, Q-M242 is found in 5% to 6% of Tajiks, and in about 8.3% of Uzbeks. In case of Turkmenistan, the frequency is not clear, but it can reach about 40% in light of the frequencies in Turkmens of Afghanistan and Iran who live in the areas adjacent to Turkmenistan. Southwest Asia exhibits high frequencies of Q in northern Iran, and gradually lowering ones to the southwest. Q-M242 accounts for 5.5% in Iran according to Grugny 2012, which shows a large and well-allocated sampling. The Q samples in the study consist of various subclades such as Q*, Q-M120, Q-M25, Q-M346, Q-M378. The highest frequency is at 42.6% in Turkmens of Golistan, followed by 9.1% in Isfahan, 6.8% in Khorasan, 6% in Liristan, 4.9% in Azerbaijan Garbi, 4.5% in Fars, and so on. Turkmens are known as the descendants of Oghuz Turks who built many Turkic empires and dynasties. Other studies also show similar frequencies. In a study, the frequency of Q is 1.9% in Iraqis, and 2.8% in Marsh Arabs who are known as the descendants of ancient Sumerians. So, there have been many controversies over the connections between Sumerians and ancient Bolivian cultures. Approximately 2.5% of males in Saudi Arabia belong to haplogroup Q. It also accounts for 1.8% in the United Arab Emirates and 0.8% in Oman peoples. Haplogroup Q-M242 has also been found in 1.1% Syrians and 2.0% in Lebanese. Approximately 2% of males in Turkey belong to haplogroup Q. In a study, it was found that among Turks who belong to the Afsha tribe, haplogroup Q-M242 is seen with a prevalence of 13%. South Asia, Q-M242 accounts for 6.9% of Afghans in a study. In this study, 18.4% of Pashtuns, the largest ethnic group in Afghanistan, turned out to be haplogroup Q. In another study with a large sampling, the frequency of Q rises to 8.9%. In this study, Turkmens of Jowzjan province, which is neighboring to Turkmenistan, show the highest frequency at 33.8%, followed by Uzbeks at 8.7%. If the results of these studies are aggregated and recalculated by population weights of each ethnic group, the frequency of Q in Afghan males will be 6.3%. In Pakistan, at the eastern end of the Iranian plateau, the frequency of haplogroup Q-M242 is about 2.2% to 3.4%. In a study, Q-M242 is observed in 2.38% of Indian people belonging to different regions and social categories. What is interesting is 14/15 samples do not belong to any known subgroups of Q-M242, with 4 among them showing novel SS4BP allele under QMEH2. This study also reflects the results of some former studies, and the accumulated result of 3 studies is turned out to be 1.3%, with 11 out of 21 Q samples ranked as high caste in social category. In another regional studies on India, Q-M242 is found in 2.8% of Gujarat people and in 6.1% of Hindus in New Delhi, the capital of India. 1.2% of Nepalese people in Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal, are in Q-M242. In a study in which Q-M242 is just classified in P** group, P* accounts for 9.7% in 3 ethnic groups of Bangladesh. In many cases, all or most of P* means Q-M242, and thus most of P* samples in the study can be estimated to be Q-M242. 3.3% of Sri Lankans are also in Q-M242. Europe Q-M242 is distributed across most European countries at low frequencies, and the frequencies decrease to the west and to the south. Eastern Europe. In Eastern Europe, Q-M242 comprises about 1.7% of males. Q-M242 is found in about 2% of Russians, 1.5% of Belarusians, 1.3% of Ukrainians, 1.3% of Poles, 2% of Czechs, 1.5% of Slovaks, about 2.2% of Hungarians, 1.2% of Romanians, 0.8% of Moldovans, and 0.5% of Bulgarians. On the other hand, 3.1% of Sekis from Transylvania turned out to be P*, which virtually means Q-M242. In a related DNA project of FDDNA, the frequency of Q-M25 in sequias reaches 4.3%. The Caucasus region shows a frequency at 1.2% in a study, but it may reach over 4% in Azerbaijan, in that 4.9% of the neighboring Iranian Azerbaijanis harbor Q-M242. It is 1.3% in Georgians and Armenians respectively, and Armenian subclades consist of Q-M378, Q-M346, and Q-M25. Northern Europe. In Northern Europe, haplogroup Q comprises about 2.5% of males. According to the Swedish haplogroup database, 4.1% of Swedish males belong to Q-M242. About two-thirds of the samples analyzed subclades in detail belong to Q1A2BF1161L527 and about one-third are in Q1A2AL804. By county, they are distributed intensively in the southern region, and rarely to the north. The highest frequency of Q is shown at 20% in Halland County, followed by 14.3% in Jönköping, 12.5% in Kronoberg County, 12.5% in Västmanland, 8.7% in Gävleborg County, 4.3% in Västra Götaland County, 4% in Stockholm, 3.9% in Skane County, and so on. If recalculated by county population weights, the frequency of Q in Sweden reaches 4.7%. In Norway, Q-M242 is found in about 2.6% of males, with QL804 being more common than QF1161L527. It is observed among 1.6% of males in Denmark, 3% in the Faroe Islands. In an article on the haplotypes of Icelanders, 7.2% of males in Iceland are labeled as R1b branch A, but they are actually Q-M242. On the other hand, it is 0.2% in Finland, 4.6% in Latvia, 1.1% in Lithuania, 0.5% in Estonia. Western Europe. In Western Europe, Q-M242 is observed at very low frequencies, around 0.5% in most of the countries, such as Germany, France, United Kingdom, etc. But some regions show a little higher. It is 2.1% in Switzerland, and it reaches 5.1% in Lyon region of France. It is about 4% in Shetland of northernmost Britain, with a place in it showing the highest figure at 8%. Shetland has been known to be a settlement of Vikings, and, surprisingly, Q-M242 in Shetland has turned out to be generically closely linked to the Q-M242 in Central Asia, which means that the Norse came from Central Asia. Also, Shetland Q-M242 is revealed to be linked to some Q-M242 of its Aries. Southern Europe. Southern Europe also shows low frequencies of Q around 0.5% to 1%, but some regions exhibits different figures. It is 1.9% in mainland Croatia, but it reaches 14.3% in Hvar Islands and 6.1% in Korčula. Also, it is about 0.6% in Italy, but it rises to 2.5% in Sicily, where it reaches 16.7% in Mazzara del Valle region, followed by 7.1% in Ragusa, 3.6% in Sciacca, and 3.7% in Belvedere Marittimo. On the other hand, according to a study, 5.2% of Ashkenazi Jews males belong to haplogroup QP36. This has subsequently been found to be entirely the QM378 subclade and may be restricted to QL245. Also, 2.3% to 5.6% of Sephardi Jews are in Haplogroup Q. Africa. Haplogroup Q is rarely found across North Africa. It is observed in 0.7% of Egyptians and in 0.6% of Algerian people. Surprisingly, it is also witnessed in 0.8% of males from Comoros, which is located in between East Africa and Madagascar. To combine the data above, Q-M242 is estimated to be in about 3.1% of males of the world. Subclade distribution QQ*, found with low frequency in India and Pakistan. Important in Afghanistan. Paragroup Q-M242 was found at 16.3% in Pashtuns. QP36.2 found with low frequency in Iran. QMEH2 was found in Koryaks, although the level of street diversity associated with QMEH2 is very low. This lineage appears to be closest to the extinct Paleo-Eskimo individuals belonging to the Sikh culture arisen in the New World Arctic about 5.5 Ca. QM120. It is so far restricted to East Asia. It has been found at low frequency among Han Chinese, Dungans, Japanese, Koreans, Mongols in Mongolia, Tibetans, and Mongda in Laos. It was reported in the Hazaras. QM25 found with high frequency of 30 to 45% in Turkmens and Turkmenistan, confused with R1B1 because of P25. Found with high frequency in Turkmens of Golistan province, Georgian, and with low to moderate frequency in Lebanon, Mongolia and Turkey. QM346 found at low frequency in Europe, South Asia and West Asia. It has been found in Pakistan, Iran, Afghanistan, Kyrgyzstan, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, India, Mongolia, Tibet and Bali. QL53 QM3, common in indigenous peoples of the Americas. QM19, found among some indigenous peoples of South America, such as the Ticuna and the Wayuu. QM194, in South America. QM199, in South America. QM323, it has been detected in Yemenite Jews. QL275 QM378, it is widely distributed in Europe, South Asia, West and East Asia. It is found among samples of Hazaras and Sindhus. It is also found in the Mongols, the Japanese people and the Uyghurs of northwestern China in two separate groups. The QM378 subclade and specifically its QL245 subbranch is speculated to be the branch to which QM242 men in European Jewish diaspora populations belong. Although published articles have not tested for M378 in Jewish populations, genetic genealogists from the Ashkenazi, Mizrachi, and Sephardi Jewish populations have tested positive for both M378 and L245. QM378 samples also has been located in Central America and South America.